Hey, everybody. Welcome into the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack Rourke, Nick Padone. It is Friday, March 7th, 2025.
Friday!
Guys, we're buzzing on this Friday. I came into the studio. I did a little, I guess we call it spring cleaning here in the Big Play Studios at Berkeley Lakefront Airport, right outside the beautiful Lake Erie. And I just feel so good when everything's clean. The weather wasn't great today, but it wasn't awful. It was better than yesterday, and next week's looking great. So I'm feeling electric on this Friday, fellas. We got a new segment at the end. Friday Fantasy Draft, I think I'm calling it. We'll explain it when we get there. But we're starting off with Myles Garrett. But before we do, I have to ask my boys, how are we doing today on this beautiful Friday?
I mean, talk about a Friday. There's trades, there's rumors, there's scandals, there's allegations. I mean, stuff is going on crazy around the world. And what a better place to enjoy this Friday morning than here at the folks on the Big Factor.
Absolutely. Nick, how you doing today on this beautiful Friday? In-person Friday.
Yeah,
what's up?
Friday. I feel like the three of us got a fun Friday plan. So
Yeah.
We do, absolutely. All right, well,
Couple of beers.
Couple of beers. That's a new prescription that's been going viral. Shout out Shane Gillis. He's a spokesperson for it. I've actually been hip to a couple of beers for quite a few, like 6, 7, 8 years now. I'll tell you what, it does. It does do the job. A couple of beers. There's nothing it can't fix.
Aren't you 24?
Yes.
How does that math work?
It doesn't. Yeah.
Okay.
When did you have your first drink, Jack? Were you 21?
22 even, I think. I think I might have waited an extra year.
That explains a lot. All right, we start here with Myles Garrett, the news. Tom Pelissero reports this morning that Browns star Myles Garrett requested a meeting with owner Jimmy Haslam, who declined to speak amidst Garrett's trade request per sources. Both sides are dug in. Cleveland refuses to even discuss a trade while Garrett is preparing to miss games if he's not traded. The news isn't this Myles Garrett thing. We know that it isn't a money thing. He wants to go to a competitor, to a chance to where he could feel like he can compete and win a Super Bowl. Money isn't a thing. The Browns, I would bet my bottom dollar, have an offer just waiting for him to sign that would make him the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history, which would make it short-lived for Max Crosby, who just yesterday became the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. I feel like there's more to this story than just that base headline. I can't imagine that Jimmy Haslam straight up looked at Myles Garrett and said, no, I don't want to meet with you. I think there's more to the story. It also comes down to...
I don't think
so. You think
Really?
it's cut and dry? Jimmy Haslam said, "No, I'm not meeting with Myles Garrett."
Pretty much. I mean, I think he told him, hey, go work it out with Andrew Berry. You know, in years past, Jimmy was one to kind of put his hand in things and to meddle. We've heard in recent years he's backed off that. You know, he trusts Kevin Stefanski, Andrew Berry to do their jobs. You know, they were the ones that kind of facilitated with his support the Deshaun Watson trade, and then, you know, the Baker Mayfield trade from there, Odell Beckham, and kind of some of that craziness. So I'm of the belief that Myles and his camp were probably trying to set up a meeting with Haslam. Haslam said, hey, go work that out with the general manager. Myles and his representation pulled a kind of, hey, we need to go talk to who's your manager? We want to speak to the manager. And the manager was unavailable.
Myles Garrett, Karen, I need to speak to your manager, please. I don't know. When I look at this, what is Jimmy Haslam? What would he say to Myles Garrett? You know the stance. It's just, what, you have him flying to Cleveland to tell him we're not trading you? This is something he already knows. I mean, is Jimmy Haslam really the one to lay out the plan to Myles Garrett? No. He's the owner. He ultimately has the final say, but that is Andrew Berry. So I think, okay, maybe it is as cut and dry as Jimmy Haslam said, I'm not meeting with Myles Garrett. But
I mean, because they're dug in that they're not trading him.
But then that makes me ask the question, okay, is it a big deal then?
Yeah, I feel like it's probably being made a little bit bigger of a deal online right now because it's in the moment and it's in the now, and that's what you do when you get, you know, a little bit of football news in the first week of March. You got to make every little thing a big deal because we're holding on to anything that we could get here. So I would say it is a little bit being overblown right now. However, I think the one thing that this storyline proves is just how dug in both sides are, because Myles is now trying to speak with ownership to plead his case on why he should be moved, and ownership is saying, hey, we don't even want to talk to you right now amidst all of this going on. So both of these sides remain super dug in, and I'm going to continue to say I don't think that the Browns have as much leverage as some fans and as probably the Browns think that they do. And the reason why is because the report this morning, and maybe the most interesting part of the report this morning, is this is the first time that we've heard that Myles Garrett is willing to sit games. He's willing to not show for games. And that's leverage, guys. Like saying, hey, I'm not going to show up. I'm your most valuable asset to date, and I'm just not going to show up and play. He's got some leverage in this situation.
But how much does that leverage... I guess, align with what Myles Garrett ultimately wants to accomplish, because
Yeah.
I understand he wants to go be a competitor, he is a competitor, go to a competitive team where he has a chance to win. But Myles Garrett isn't one to shy away from staking the claim that he wants to be the greatest to ever do it. You can't afford to miss games. You can't afford to miss a season if you want to go down as the greatest defensive end to ever do it. I mean, the fines are one thing. They are hefty to miss the game. Like when you miss a game every now, it's like, or every practice or something like that, it's thousands and thousands of dollars. And obviously, Myles Garrett has said money isn't a thing that he's concerned about. I mean, I'm sure he's obviously got plenty of it, but you can't afford to sit there and miss games. And Myles Garrett is a generational athlete, but let's not forget, he won't quickly be forgotten. But this isn't a scenario where you can sit out a year and just come back non-playing football. We've seen what happens when you take a year off of football.
It ain't good.
And in the recent memory of the players I think that have done holdouts, it has not worked out for them in the slightest.
No.
I think of Le'Veon Bell. I think of Melvin Gordon. Obviously, those are running backs, but we've seen it like it doesn't necessarily
Chris
work out
Jones
for the
played
players.
well though, didn't he?
Well, Chris Jones missed one
He
game.
was
he was only one game.
They lost
Okay.
to the Detroit Lions, and then the Chiefs were like, "Wow, okay, we got to give this guy the money he wants." But that's a different scenario because Chris Jones knew he was on a competitor. This was about his was about money.
Yeah.
and respect,
Oh, okay. I see what you
getting the
mean.
money he
Yeah.
deserved. Myles Garrett, this one clearly
And that's
isn't
why
about money.
too, and to that point as well, Ryan. People keep likening this to the David Njoku thing. It's so different for multiple reasons. One, David Njoku's a skill position, a tight end. You could go find a tight end; they're dime a dozen, especially in the modern NFL. Myles Garrett is a defensive player of the year, first ballot Hall of Famer when he's done. Been the face of the franchise for the last 8 years. Njoku wanted money. Myles has the money, and he knows that regardless of how this situation gets resolved, he's going to get even more money. Like whether it's in Cleveland or elsewhere, money is fine. He wants to win, and he doesn't believe he could do it in Cleveland. He's dug in. The Browns are dug in, and this just goes to show what I told you guys when I got back from the combine. This really felt like a situation when I left Indy literally a week ago today. This is a situation that just has no end in sight, and this morning's report confirms that.
There's such not a good thing to hear because I'm going to make a Myles Garrett ex-girlfriend comparison for the 35th time on the show in the last 2 weeks. But they tell you cut it off clean, you get it done, you don't want feelings hurt, you just end things and you move on. And Nick, we're not ending things and we're not moving on. That's why you're going to have this radio row where Myles Garrett parades down and shit talks the Browns. The Browns are going to answer back and no, we're not even going to talk to you. It's just going to keep getting uglier and uglier, and the perception of Myles Garrett is going to get darker and darker by the day in Cleveland because this thing's going to go all the way into the dog days of summer. Hell, we're probably going to be talking about Shane Bieber making his third or fourth start back as a Guardian by the time Myles Garrett gets traded.
You'd hope like my new best case like scenario for this is that they resolve. It's one of these things that gets resolved right before the draft. And I'm talking the week of the draft. Maybe we start hearing some reports and rumors, and then draft night, it's something that goes down. Like, I really think that this is like the draft is kind of my new like hope, a beacon of hope that we could have some sort of resolution on this, whether it's he's extended and buys into whatever vision they pitch him on through the first couple weeks of free agency and then their plan for the draft. Or they just find someone that's willing to hemorrhage 2 first-round picks plus a smidge bit more to take on the remainder of Myles Garrett's contract and to give him that new contract that would make him the highest-paid non-quarterback in football. Like, I hope this is done by the draft. I don't see any. I don't understand the reason to drag it out longer. Like, I don't think you could convince Myles, and even if you do, Ryan, to your point, like, okay, don't sit out a year, but like, isn't that kind of like everything against building a good culture and stuff to put that guy back in the locker room? Like, why would you do that? One. And two, the only other argument that I could see to let it go past the draft is if the Browns believe that they're in it for a full kind of rebuild and next year's draft is thought to be better. So you just want more picks next year than this year.
And it adds the
I've
level
seen
of
that.
difficulty because this isn't, and Denzel Ward is such an amazing player, and he's been a cornerstone of this franchise. But you're not talking about a player like Denzel Ward. You're talking about the cornerstone of your franchise, Myles Garrett. Like you said, Nick, it's easy to say, well, you don't want this lingering in the locker room. You don't want to show, you're giving power to a player over the organization. But it's Myles Garrett. It's the best defensive player in football, a defensive player of the year just 2 years removed now, that has been with your franchise for over 8 years and has been the best part of your franchise by far. Not even close. Well, I don't know. It's going to get resolved. This, to me, seems scuttlebutt about nothing. I understand the headline owner doesn't want to talk to star player. Seems like a big deal, but I don't know. I kind of think it's blown.
Yeah, because here's the thing, and people will do this. The internet will
Internet.
play both sides, right? You can't be mad at Jimmy Haslam when he meddles in situations, which he's been known to do, and he puts his hand in football operations. You can't be mad about that. But then with this, when he says, hey, we're going to let the football people run it, then you're mad that he won't take the meeting with Myles. Like, I think that's being a little bit, I'm not here to bend the knee for a billionaire owner, but I think that's a little bit unfair. And I've
Ryan
seen
made a
some of
great
that this
point,
morning.
too. On it earlier when you said, what is he going to do? Fly him to Cleveland
That's
to
what
tell
I'm
him,
saying.
no, we're
Hey,
not
Myles,
going to meet
hop
with
on
you?
a plane to wherever you are. Come back to Cleveland. We'll sit down. You'll ask me the question, or you'll tell me to trade you. I'll say no. All right, see you. Go back on your jet. Go practice or go train wherever. It's like I don't see
No
an
point in
outcome
doing
of that.
that.
No point. All right. Flipping over, we're staying in the NFL. Actually, let's take a quick break first. When we get back, I still want to talk about the NFL. Trey Hendrickson, man. Bengals
That's
are such a
crazy.
poverty franchise. We're going to break that down and more when we get back here on The Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back into The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Happy Friday. We're brought to you today and every day, of course, by our great friends at Fairway Ford, Ohio. Fairway Ford is the biggest Ford truck dealership in the state. They have the largest selection of Ford F-150s as well as Super Duty trucks, and I promise you guys they will not be beat on price by any other Ford dealers. Do not let a short drive to Canfield, Ohio prevent you from saving thousands, yes, that's thousands of dollars on your new ride. Fairway Ford, the largest inventory of new Ford trucks, lowest pricing, and the same hometown level of service. Visit fairwayfordohio.com. That's fairwayfordohio.com. Hey, I know the Bengals, they should go to Fairway Ford to save thousands of dollars because they can't stand to spend money, especially on their star players. Flipping it over down to Cincinnati, just 3.5 hours from great Cleveland. They are granting permission to star defensive end Trey Hendrickson to seek a trade. I want to tell you guys this stat courtesy of Warren Sharp on X. The Bengals and Eagles both signed their quarterback ones to extensions in 2023. Yeah. Since then, the Bengals have re-signed someone to a contract just once over $40 million. That was Logan Wilson. The Eagles have done that 8 times with 8 different players. Hey, Bengals missed the playoffs last year. Eagles won the Super Bowl. It's crazy what happens when you pay star players and you commit to players long term. Bengals have trouble doing that.
Yeah, I mean, and this is one of those situations. You can't really throw stones when you live in a glass house.
But
and
I will.
I will as well, because you know what? When the Browns made the Deshaun Watson trade, and it was a mistake, and a lot of us at the time even thought, while you hope that Deshaun, took to form at some point on the field, nobody was encouraging what he had done off of it. And Bengals fans got their licks in about that. Now it's our turn to get our licks in about this. Yeah, for the Cincinnati Bengals, I don't feel bad at all. They bought the house in Joe Burrow and they can't afford the furniture to put in it. They're debating right now with T. Higgins, with Jamar Chase. Now they're going to trade Trey Hendrickson. Like I don't see a world where Trey Hendrickson's back with the Bengals. I know I kind of just said a similar thing about Myles last segment. I think Trey Hendrickson's good as gone.
This is a real tough look for the Bengals also. As a guy who knows the Bengals defensive scheme better than most here in Cleveland, I would bet, as a man who's watched Al Golden for the better part of his life in multiple stints at Notre Dame, the biggest thing you need with a Al Golden-led defense is guys who can get to the friggin' quarterback. And the number one guy in terms of getting to the quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals is gone. And the number two thing you need when you have an Al Golden defense is cornerbacks who can stick in man coverage. Cam Taylor-Britt, ha, ha, ha. That's not going to work out either, dumbasses. So have fun with another 8-9 season where you score an NFL record 2,000 points, but let up an NFL record 2,001 points.
Listen, if anybody's heard me on any show here on Big Play, I've made it known multiple times that the team I can't stand, I hate the most, is in the entire NFL, not just the AFC North, is the Cincinnati Bengals. Like, I hate them more than the Steelers. I hate them more than the Ravens. I understand people, well, how could you do that? The history with the Steelers,
You
the
live
history
down
with the
there.
Ravens, they took your team. I get all that. Me, personally, I went to school at the University of Cincinnati.
Yeah, you have all the right.
I can't stand them. The Ravens and the Steelers have success, okay? They have long history of success. The Bengals don't. They think they're so high and mighty than the Browns. I got to tell you, I understand you went to a Super Bowl. We're not that far off. You have a franchise quarterback. We don't, but that's about it.
Has there ever been a team that has run with material from one season more in the history of the world than the Cincinnati Bengals have with
I
that
don't
trip to the
know.
Super Bowl?
I don't know who milks the cow more, the Bengals with that Super Bowl appearance or the NBA with Mac McClung during February.
Yankee fans are up there as well.
No,
just
Yankee
with,
fans are up there.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, the Bengal fans, like, yeah, they're holding on to that Super Bowl loss, which is a weird thing to say.
Hang the banner.
Yeah,
Duke.
Like, I mean, which I guess you have to. My biggest thing too is, they paid Joe Burrow because they had to. Have they not paid Joe Burrow? We're talking about the San Diego Bengals today.
NFL
you
Europe,
know,
yeah.
Funny
like-
enough, do you know that they call Cincinnati the San Diego of the Midwest?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, if you just pulled that was a crazy pull. It's like the thing. There's like billboards, paintings that say Cincinnati, San Diego, the Midwest.
And I think but that's probably where the Bengals would have ironically moved had because there's a lot of San Diego fans that miss the Chargers and that want the Chargers back. Anyhow, they had to do that, and they didn't, or they did, but now they can't afford to do anything else. And it just goes back to Mike Brown is only the owner of the Bengals. He doesn't own anything else, so he has to make his money from football, and it's a hard business. When you're talking about paying Trey Hendrickson as one of the top edge rushers in the world, like I think he's in that Max Crosby class. Like Myles Garrett's still a class above both of those players, but he's definitely as good as Max Crosby. And then you've got two all-world receivers. So, like, who's Burrow going to throw to? T. Higgins is already sour because of what went wrong with the franchise tag twice. I get the league has that rule in place. It was within the Bengals' rights to do so, but players are always going to say that's bad business. And then Jamar Chase, if you don't figure out the Jamar Chase thing, I mean, you're in deep crap now.
Speaking of craps, then you're going to have to pull Jermaine Burton off the craps table in the casino the night before a game. I mean, you're down to Andre Yosevich at this point.
They can't even pay his rent. What did he get vacated twice? Come on, Bengals.
Oh, did he? Oh.
I don't know what Trey Hendrickson was asking for, but you lead the league with 35 sacks in the last 2 years. You were the running-up defensive player of the year last year. Joe Burrow, your cornerstone, your franchise, has made it vocal. He wanted the Bengals to pay him. I understand, of course, he would say that. You got to find a way to make it happen. As much as we crap on Jimmy Haslam, and rightfully so, and Andrew Berry and the front office, they consistently make an effort to try to win.
Yeah.
They pay players, and it doesn't often work out. It hasn't since 99. But, hey, at least they try. The Bengals, you have one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now, and you're refusing to build a team around him. The Eagles, that stat I read was a perfect example. Jalen Hurts, nowhere near the level of Joe Burrow. But you saw what happens when you pay players around him. You have a good defense. You give Saquon, now extended him, bringing back the running back market, and they win a Super Bowl, and they're probably the favorites to go win back-to-backs. The Bengals next year, I don't know.
Do they have to draft all defensive players?
Losing Trey Hendrickson,
Yeah,
how can
probably.
you project the Bengals to make the playoffs next year?
You can't.
I understand.
Their
You
defense
can't.
blows.
Joe
Yeah.
Burrow is amazing, but you saw what happens. You can score 40 points a game. I don't care if you're giving up 45. You're losing more games than you're winning.
It was the meme that people would use for Justin Herbert, but you could probably now start to use it for Joe Burrow as well.
Yeah.
Where it's that crappy, it's the Bugatti in the crappy garage.
Yeah.
Like we're starting to get to that point in Cincinnati. And like, I'm not trying to just throw shots because a few years ago when they were in that Super Bowl, like that was a good balanced roster. But now print these rosters out and compare them side by side. I'm talking Browns and Bengals. Bengals have the Browns beaten a plethora of important positions. I'm not denying that. Quarterback, absolutely. Wide receiver, dumpsters. Outside of that, they're pretty equal. The Bengals' offensive line has never been that good. Tight end,
Zach Taylor
can't name him.
stinks.
Zach Taylor's no
Zach
good.
Taylor is really bad at his job, and
Yeah,
he still has a job because of one thing. It's really funny.
He stinks. The Bengals stink. I'm sorry to say it. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, awesome. The Bengals as a franchise stinks.
Zach Taylor got Sean McVay a cup of coffee like a couple times, and now he's just an immortal NFL head coach.
It blows my mind how he's still employed. I thought for sure this season they were going to can him. I guess they just threw the fire on Anarumo. I guess Al Golden will be the magic piece that somehow fixes that defense, even though you brought nobody in free agency.
Yeah, you got to help
yet.
the poor guy. Jeez.
And now you're getting rid of your best player on defense, potentially, in Trey Hendrickson. All right,
Come on in, Al.
Yeah, so he's got quite the job for him.
Well, look around, Al. Look at everything you got. You got who do they have? They got Cam Taylor-Britt. They have half of Dax Hill when he's healthy.
Sam Hubbard's gone.
Sam Hubbard's gone. Who's on their defense?
Dude, I honestly couldn't tell you many players on the defense. I'll be
bad.
completely honest with you. I don't really keep up with the Bengals that much. We got to take a break. When we get back, Tyler Naquin back with the Guardians.
Fun
Not
story
as an
here.
outfielder, in fact,
Nope.
signing a minor league deal, trying to make a return as a right-handed pitcher. That'll be a hell of a job for Carl Willis to do. We'll talk about that more when we get back here on The Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack Orrick, Nick Padone. Happy Friday. Well, earlier this offseason, the Guardians brought back old friend Carlos Santana, but the family reunions don't stop there. 33-year-old Tyler Naquin has signed a minor league deal with our Cleveland Guardians, not as an outfielder, but as a right-handed pitcher. When I saw this headline, guys, first thing I thought of was Tim Tebow, a guy trying to make a career resurgence at a different position. I don't know how this will work out. I quite frankly have no idea how this is even possible. I heard he throws hard.
Yeah.
A lot of guys in the MLB throw hard. That's kind of their thing. Jack, bringing back old friend Tyler Naquin, did it spark some memories for you?
Oh, I mean, you got to love bringing the band back together, don't you? It's a thing that's possible. That's the first thing you got to mention anytime a guy tries to make the swap in the middle of their career. Look no further than Anthony Gose, who I actually believe is still in our organization, who was an outfielder for the Tigers and Blue Jays for much of the early 2010s. Converts. He actually has an awesome slider, became a left-handed reliever. And it actually was in our organization, might even still be in our organization. Rick Ankiel did it for the Cardinals back in the early 2000s, so it can be done. But when you bring up memories, Ryan, I mean, of course, you got to think about throwing up the little rock star. You say Naquin got hit over Michael Saunders' head out there in right field back in 2016. Yeah, it feels good, guys, doesn't it? Like, you know, if you can't. You got to learn this with the Guardians. You're not going to get everything. You're not always going to get what you want. You're not going to get a guy signed to a contract over $15 million a year. But you know what? Is your fourth outfielder from your World Series run 8 years ago going to come back as a starting pitcher? You're goddamn right he is. And that is what you can ask for out of the Cleveland Guardians every single year. And they're going to deliver with impeccable consistency.
Hey, I mean, baseball is a magical sport. 33 years old really isn't that old. How about this?
Dude, I would have thought that's another thing with this, too, is I knew that he was younger because he didn't really have a long prime. He was only good here for 2 or 3 years. I was surprised he's only 33 years old.
So he last played in 2023.
Was he a White
with
Sox?
the Chicago White
I
Sox?
remember that. That was bad.
And he only had 8 at bats, and seven of which were strikeouts.
Hey, well, he won't need to step up to the plate if he's pitching.
And then prior to that, he was with the Mets in 2022. So I mean, he only played 49 games. So he's been away from the game for a bit. I wonder like how far along, because there are independent pitching coaches that you could hire. Like, has he ever pitched before? It's probably a good place to start this conversation.
I would bet, man. I mean,
Little League,
a lot of those
high
guys
school,
did growing up,
yeah,
going both
you're
ways.
usually
But
you
got to be so athletic to do that. And I mean, the fact that he does have such a great arm is what helped him out. And like, this is a very bad comparison, but just to show people the kind of arm Tyler Naquin has, if you look at MLB The Show, the video game, he was in it last year as a guy who was out of the league, and he was like a 73 overall, which actually isn't bad for the show because they don't do, like, they're not all high 90s. Like, most, like, I think Carlos Santana is our 5th highest player this year, like an 82 overall. So, like, he was a 73 just based off of arm strength in the video game. Like, so he's got a little bit of something there, but it's going to be really funny to see, man. And you got to say, anything related to Tyler Naquin, used to walk up to the plate by the stroke, I think it's by the strokes, actually. Always fires up the crowd. You're going to hear that out of the bullpen in like 4 years.
Well, here's the thing. Fastball is the easiest pitch to hit in baseball. Everybody knows that. But you talk about arm strength. Here's where Tyler Naquin ranked in recent seasons among outfielders that made at least 50 throws. 2020, so I mean, that's 5 years ago. 93 mile per hour average. 2021, 92.6 mile per hour average. 2022, the most recent, 92.8 mile per hour average. First one was 4th in the league. Second was tied for 9th.
And it looks
This
like
one was
his
tied for
max in
22nd.
and his max in 2021 was
Max at
98.
98.3.
He's probably going to throw a fastball like around 93 and a half.
Which that's 400 feet in center field.
But I'm saying, like, moving him up 59 feet away, I think he's going to throw 93, 94. That's not bad, man. Wow.
Dude, here's a tinfoil hat for you guys. Tyler Naquin saw an opportunity here. You know, he listened to the big factory.
He saw Tristan McKenzie start against the White Sox. He's like, fuck it, I could do it.
He heard Jack's analysis about, you know, Will Brennan, probably not the answer. John Kenzie Noel, fun player, you know, could be fun always to bring off the bench because he has undeniable power. Everyday right fielder, not sure. Tyler Naquin woke up one morning and he said, you know what? I could be the Republican Shohei Ohtani. And I'm going to pitch and play right field for the Cleveland Guardians. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to hunt my deer in my off time. I'm going to do both. I'm going to play both ways at 40 years old and become one of the greatest players of all time.
We got red hats now this year, I believe, too, so he can look just like Tony Boehm. I mean, he can have the whole thing put together just right away off rip. And but that could be the case, though, because, like, DeLauder's out now. So if you're looking at left-handed hitting outfielders in camp, you're down to George Valera, who's also injured, so he can't play right now. So you have Petey Halpin. And no offense to Petey Halpin. Petey Halpin's not making the Major League roster. Maybe he was like, yeah, maybe I can take a couple swings in the cage, and next thing you know, I'm the right fielder on opening day.
My buddy's conspiracy was that this pitching story is completely made up, and that he's gunning for the right field job.
Really?
I mean,
we had to have an excuse to bring him in.
You got to find a way to get your foot in the door.
Well, think about this. Think about this. If we saw yesterday that we signed Tyler Naquin as a right fielder, we would have been in here shitting on them the whole entire show.
True. People throw up.
Right? But if we bring him in as a pitcher, oh my God, we found this magical hitting talent. No one's going to shit on them. It's going to be like, oh, maybe Naquin still has it. So the organization and Tyler Naquin both found a way to dupe us at the same time, but in the right manner.
If Carl Willis,
90 wins is so back, by the way.
If Carl Willis pulls this off, just build him a statue right outside of Progressive Field at this point.
Him and
Next to
Jose.
the Naquin statue where he's going like this.
Yeah.
Jack, who would you rather see in right field for the majority of the
Tyler
season?
Naquin.
Tyler Naquin, really?
I don't need to hear the other option.
That's
It would
insane.
at
was gonna
least
be Will Brennan,
funny.
so
It was going to be Will
It
Brennan.
would at
Tyler
least be
Naquin.
funny.
Just bring back Barry Bonds at this point. He said he can still hit 100 mile per hour fastball.
You see him, he looked jacked. I wonder why.
Yeah, I
or
wonder
how.
why. It's crazy how your head size just magically grows 4 hat sizes in one off season.
Yeah, he did steroids.
Yes, he
yeah. Yeah, that's the one, and I'm going to come out here and throw out some allegations because it's a Friday. Miguel Cabrera definitely did steroids, and the whole entire world needs to hear that. Wait, okay. Go up. No, it's not. Go look up 2003 Miguel Cabrera on your phone right now and look at how skinny he is. Anyone, look up 2003 Miguel Cabrera and look at what he looks like, and then look at 2008 Miguel Cabrera.
Bartolo
All right, that's
Colon do
5
steroids?
years. In 5 years, dude, look up what I look like in 2020, and it's pretty different.
No, I'm telling you, man, Miggy did it. Miggy did roids.
That is quite the allegation. Well, Charles Barkley, speaking of allegations, not really allegations, but fraud, I guess. Nobody called the Cavs fraud, but people at ESPN, Charles Barkley had some words to say about the disrespect to the Cavs and the Thunder. Kendrick Perkins basically said the Lakers saved the NBA season. Charles Barkley wasn't having any of that. I'm going to play some of that clip, and we'll react to that when we get back here on The Big Factor.
How about some major breaking news in the NHL? Mikko Rantanen, can you believe it? Out of Carolina after 3 months, he's heading to the Dallas Stars, the favorites, the new presumed favorites to win the Western Conference over the Winnipeg Jets. Nick, you're getting into hockey still. You probably don't know a ton about Mikko Rantanen, but there are rumors that this trade's going to be finalized here in a second. The contract extension that needs to be in place, still being worked out.
So he got traded to Carolina.
And Carolina traded him right again because they didn't want to pay him $14 million a year.
Wow.
Yeah, so that is now
Quite
what
the
we're
breaking
looking
news,
at.
Jack. Thanks
Big
for
trade,
opening.
Mikko Rantanen.
Thanks for opening for me, buddy.
You're welcome.
My headphone extender fell. So, Jay, if you want to.
All right, well, I want to play this video from Charles Barkley, guys. Basically, Kendrick Perkins said something along the lines of the Lakers saved the NBA this season. Meanwhile, Charles Barkley wasn't having that. Why? Because you have the Cavs and Thunder both with 50 wins already, having 2 historic seasons. I want to play this clip for you guys, a little bit of it at least. Here we go.
I saw a fool idiot on TV talking about the Lakers saved the NBA.
Save the NBA.
Yeah. He's an idiot and a fool, but he know who he is. What's his name, Shaq?
Which one you talking about? There's a lot of
Kendrick
fools out
Perkins.
there.
He said the Lakers, first of all, the Lakers have had a great 2 weeks. He said the Lakers saved the NBA season. That's because them fools on the other network, which we're going to be working for next year, that's all they talk about. Let me tell y'all something.
Tell me something.
And first of all, I want all the smoke. I don't
something.
whistle when I walk by the graveyard or anything like that.
I don't whistle when I walk by the graveyard.
right.
I like that.
man.
I've never heard that.
That's a good
The
phrase.
Lakers are
fire.
doing great.
Put it on a T-shirt.
Got a long way to go. But the reason the season's been going great for the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Y'all just want to talk about the Warriors and the Lakers. They're both doing great. Don't get me wrong. If I turn out to be wrong, I got no problem with that. But y'all are idiots because y'all talk about the Lakers and the Warriors all the time. Y'all don't. The Cleveland Cavaliers have won 12 straight games. The Oklahoma City got the MVP and they are on fire. Y'all are talking about who's in second place. That's the reason I get pissed. Hey, the Lakers are doing great. I don't mind being wrong. The Warriors are doing great. But that's because you fools on other networks, which we're going to become fools next year. We'll be working on that network. But Oklahoma City and the Cavs been balling for 6 months.
Yes, they have.
Look at Shaq. Look at
Shaq is
Shaq.
dying. I mean, he's right. He's spitting absolute facts. The Lakers' glaze is out of hand, guys. You have the Cavaliers right now sitting at 52-10 and the Thunder 51-11. To say the Lakers saved this NBA season, I think is absolutely ludicrous. I understand it's LeBron and Luka. They're going to get the headlines, the Showtime Lakers. And maybe they will be in the finals. They're getting talked about rightfully so. After trading for Luka Doncic, they've been one of the best teams in the NBA outside of the Cavaliers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. You're sitting second in the West, and your defensive rating has gone up, which is absolutely crazy. I don't know how sustainable it is just letting teams chuck up threes and hope they miss them when you play teams like the Cavs, Thunder, and Celtics. But the Cavaliers, if anything, saved the NBA season, along with the Oklahoma City Thunder, who you have a superstar MVP this season, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this has been the NBA discourse this entire week. I saw there was an article on Defector that kind of had the same thing, that this is Adam Silver's NBA, small, which people want to crap on. But one thing you've got to say is give small markets a fighting chance. I mean, you can't say the same for baseball. For the most part, there hasn't been a ton of parity in the NFL when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs and their dominance over the last couple years. Right now, the Cavs and Oklahoma City Thunder are running the NBA, and while that might be jarring to some at ESPN and some of these big networks that want to be in New York and want to be in LA at a nightly basis, they're going to have to spend a lot of time in Cleveland and a lot of time in Oklahoma City throughout the NBA playoffs because these are the best 2 teams in the league. And I think it's fair to say that, sure, the Lakers gave fans a reason to find interest right now, but I agree with Chuck a little bit in what he said. There's still a long ways to go. Like, it is literally, when that bit was taped, it was March 6th. Like, April 6th, let's see how they're sitting, when the playoffs are still weeks away. And then we could have a conversation about Los Angeles. I do think the Lakers are title contenders, but I think it's a little wonky to just throw shade on the Thunder and the Cavs, because if you actually sit down and watch Thunder games, they're probably just as exciting of a team as the Cavs.
Oh, absolutely they are, especially with Chet Holmgren is fully healthy again. I mean, they're probably the title favorites, I would imagine. You still have the Celtics, which I believe are still the favorite in the East.
Technically
The favorite in the East. We'll see what happens there, but How about that quote? I don't whistle when I walk through the graveyard.
I've never heard that.
That's like the
Really?
hardest thing I've ever. You've heard that before.
Yeah, no, that's a pretty common phrase, I think, actually. I mean, I don't use it personally because I'm not really hard. Like, I don't ever have a scenario to use said phrase, but I can get into it for a second if you guys want, because I actually agree with Kendrick Perkins. And
Yeah, let's
not
hear
that
it.
I don't disagree
Womp
with
womp.
Chuck. I think everything he said is correct. But when you're talking about saving the NBA season, I think the Los Angeles Lakers 1,000,000% did. Because, don't get me wrong, the Cavs and the Thunder deserve all the credit and all the coverage in the world, but the NBA ratings were still shitty while those teams were at the top of the NBA, and they were going to remain shitty if those teams were at the top of the NBA, because nobody outside of Cleveland and Oklahoma City gives a shit about those two teams. And I love the Cavs, and I want the Cavs to do well, but the Cavs don't draw headlines the way those other teams do. So when he says that they saved the season, that's 1,000,000% correct, because everyone was talking about how bad the NBA season was up until that Luka trade happened. People want to talk about the Lakers. Like you said, people want to talk about the Knicks and the teams in those big cities. And it's not that those teams have saved the NBA because of their play. They saved the NBA because there's something to talk about now.
I'm trying to find this. I want to see what the highest viewed NBA games are this season, because then I would contradict you and say that's not true. Because I know at first that Oklahoma City Thunder, when they first matched up with the Cavs, that was the highest viewed NBA game in quite some time. And I would imagine the Cavs Celtics were up there, the Cavs Warriors. Like, of course, the Lakers draw the most attention. Why? Because they're put in the spots to get the attention. You saw the Cavs just get flexed into that with the Magic because the 76ers are hot garbage. If you gave the Cavaliers the chance, you give Oklahoma City the chance, which they give OKC more of a chance than they do the Cavs, the headlines would be the Cavs. They should be the
See,
Cavs.
I disagree
You're
with
the
that.
best team in the NBA.
I know they are, but that's not the real world, though, with like how markets work. If the Lakers are anywhere near contention, there's teams like that in that ilk, like the Yankees, they will always be the number one story. And not that they should be the number one story, but they're going to command that attention every single time. That's why, like, even when Shaq was gone and it was just Pau Gasol and Kobe, they were still the number one story when they were the 3 or 4 seed in the West, just because it's Kobe, it's LeBron, it's that huge name we talk about all the time. It's Luka, the biggest international star, obviously with the biggest player of all time and the biggest international star in the game. They're going to get the most coverage if they're anywhere near being good, and I would say rightfully so.
To say the Lakers saved the NBA season, though?
Yes.
Why? Because they traded for Luka?
Yes, because it was a boring season until they made the biggest trade.
Was it a boring season, though?
By ratings, yes.
See, but
that was first quarter ratings. Like, you're going up against football and stuff. Like,
I mean, I would imagine if Luka was there, though, the first quarter ratings look way different.
I don't know. You were just on the Mavericks. It's not like he was wasting away his career. You just went to the NBA Finals with them.
Yeah, no,
It's
that's
kind of
fair. But
impossible
it's
to
LA,
tell.
man. That's what it is. It's just Tinseltown. They're
I
always
don't
gonna be number one.
Anyway, I appreciate Chuck sticking up for our small market Cavaliers in the Oklahoma City
how
Thunder.
about this? We got a little like different to completely change the topic. We've got like a little like internet rumor from someone on Twitter called Bear Down Cuz. Mikey,
I saw this,
Mikey
yeah.
Bear Down Cuz, who is the co-host of the Brilliantly Dumb Show. That's actually the name of the show.
Oh, is that like Bob Does Sports?
But I mean, the show has 11,000 followers. This guy has 22.6 thousand followers. And it seems like he covers kind of all sports. Tweeted, developing, have gotten word from a reliable source that the Browns and Cardinals are in talks regarding a trade that would send Kyler Murray to Cleveland. Compensation not yet known at this time. So I doubt that this is true, that some guy in New Jersey would be breaking Kyler Murray to the Browns news, but
Does that get you guys excited at all?
it definitely it's.
No.
I will
Me
tell you what.
neither.
I will tell you what it's gotten. Bear Down Cuz some good engagement
Yeah,
on a Friday.
Bear down, baby.
I would much rather have a rookie quarterback
Yeah.
whose ceiling is untapped on a cheap deal.
And what
rather
if
than going
Todd
to
comes
Conrad.
out while he's in Cleveland?
I
We're
don't know,
screwed.
guys.
To me,
I'd take Kyler. I would take Kyler. You know
I
why?
wouldn't.
Kyler just had a career year, top 10 year, if you go look it up, in Drew Petzig's offense. Drew Petzig, former tight end coach here with the Browns, ran the same offense as Stefanski. If we want to get back to the Stefanski-Flacco, I think Kyler has never had an opportunity to run that outside of, the 10 games or whatever that he was in with Petzig last year by the time he got comfortable in it. Bring me Kyler Murray to Cleveland.
Let's trade for Cliff Kingsbury as well. Make him.
How much what would it really take to get Kyler? Wouldn't take 2. At 2, you'd be
Has he
able to
got
get
his
Abdul
extension
Carr.
yet?
Yeah,
a second and a third?
I don't even think that. Because the 33, that's probably it. You probably have to give 33 for Kyler
What are the
Murray.
Cardinals doing then? Trying to sign Sam Darnold or something?
Could be.
Yeah, where the hell are they going?
Or just
Jonathan Gannon's still there?
rebuild. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, they just rebuild it. Yeah, they
Sign-
tear
Yeah.
it down for Arch.
Sign Joe Flacco. Arch in Arizona. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
All right, one more break. We get back.
I doubt that's true, by the way.
Yeah.
I just want to say, no offense, bear down, cuz. I'm sure somebody maybe did tell him that, but it could have just been the voices in his own head.
Very true. We all have those. All right, we got to take a break. When we get back, Friday Fantasy Draft, new segment. We'll talk about it when we get back here on The Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padoma wrapping it up on this Friday edition. New segment, guys. I'm calling it Friday Fantasy Draft. For those who don't know what we're doing, basically, you can draft any topic you want. Today we're doing, in honor of, there was a tweet that went on, I should have pulled it up. A pilot had the most unfathomable riz to some girl saying, "I've been around the world, you're the most beautiful woman in it."
Yeah, this pilot wrote on a napkin.
Oh, wow.
I have it pulled up and dropped it off it, and this girl is definitely like an Instagram model or something. I've seen the whole world, and you're the most beautiful human in it. And he didn't even like put his number on it. I don't think he.
Good for him.
Unless it's on the other side.
That makes it even more like
Perhaps,
hard,
yeah.
like mysterious. Like,
yeah, but it looks like he could just sign his name. So yeah.
well, that led us to our first topic. Easiest jobs, occupations to have to pull girls. And the way this works is we draft a job. We'll do snake, okay, to make it fair.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
Doesn't matter to me.
Here, I'll ask.
Yeah, you want to do like a,
ChatGPT.
Because-
I can play
Give
from any
me a
position.
because I do
draft
think we all know the number one
order
answer.
randomized of Nick, Jack, and Ryan. Ryan goes
That's-
1, Nick 2, Jack 3.
Oh, love the snake, baby.
Yeah, so you'll get back to back. All right, well, if I'm starting number one, guys, easiest occupation to pull girls, I'm going pilot. Like, I know that's kind of a gimme.
Pilot?
That,
Alright.
like, women love pilots. Have you watched The Bachelor?
That's a little bit of a Trevor Lawrence 1-1 there, Nick.
I got to ungroup these. Jack, you can go while I'm figuring this out.
I think I'm in the 3 spot.
Oh,
it's,
Nick, you're
it's
up.
up to me. All right, with the second pick, I will. Well, this is technically my first pick, right?
Yeah, it's your first pick.
first pick.
Okay, so this is still the first round, but
Right.
number 2 overall.
Number
pick.
2 overall
I'm
pick.
gonna take a bartender.
A
I feel
bartender?
like that's
Yeah, you're in a good position.
probably a
yeah.
little overdone. And you've got to be good at it. But I'm gonna go with bartender just because the opportunity is undoubtedly there for bartenders.
Jack, your first selection in this draft.
Yeah, so I got 2 picks here.
Yeah, you have back to back.
I got 2 picks here, and there's 3 different occupations in my head. I think sandwich artist is going to lose out. Wow.
A subway
Okay,
worker?
we're gonna go pro athlete here in round 1.
Oh, does that count?
That counts.
Yeah, it's a job.
That
Yeah.
counts.
I think that might have been the number 1 overall pick that I should have done.
Well, I appreciate it.
All right, Jack, you get two, so you get back to backs.
Yeah, and you gotta go. There's a crowd of guys out there who are gonna be yelling at their TVs at me here because they're gonna agree with this one. A fitness instructor, like
Damn it.
that hot
Damn
that
it.
Fabio, the
Damn
long
it.
hair.
Is
Yeah,
that what you were gonna do, Nick?
I was gonna do that because of. I mean, if that happened to Brady. Could I still say jujitsu instructor? Because if so, then put me down for jujitsu instructor.
Yeah, I don't see why not. Okay, so wait, Jack, you said pro athlete, and then what was your second one?
fitness
instructor.
Fitness instructor. That's like GTA. I like that.
And I'm gonna say then, if I can, jujitsu instructor.
Oh God, how do you spell jujitsu?
I think. Let's see.
JIU
JIU?
JIU, yeah.
JITSU.
JIU-JITSU.
Like that?
Yep.
Jiu-jitsu. I
instructor.
got to put instructor.
No, jujitsu works.
It's all right. I want to get specific. All right, so I get back to back.
Yeah.
Correct now, because we're doing snake. I am gonna go.
Here, flip those. You put jujitsu instructor as your own.
Oh, you're right. I'm going to go for my second overall pick. Jay actually gave me a suggestion, but I was going to put this before he actually gave me. So me and him are on the same wavelength. Firefighter. Women love firefighters, not cops, firefighters.
All right. I mean, isn't it kind of hard to meet people though if you're
Yeah.
like putting
Yeah,
out
but I'm not
fires?
talking about
If you're
me,
in,
but this is easiest job to pull girls. You say I'm a firefighter.
But part of pulling girls at your job is
Sure.
having girls there.
That's fine. Okay. Well, then,
All right.
then if we're heavily weighing, like proximity, being able to like be in an area where you're surrounded by girls, I don't know if I want to pull this yet. I kind of want to say this. I don't think any of you are going to say it. I'll put. Nobody said it. I'll say doctor.
all right.
So Jack, you're up, or Nick's up.
Next
I'm
up, yeah.
All right. I was going to wait on this because I don't think either of you guys are going to say it, but I'm honestly kind of running a little bit low on ideas. So I'm going to go with Chipotle. When I worked at Chipotle in high school, and we used to be able, I don't know if this is still a thing. I also feel like statute of limitations, like I quit Chipotle in 2016. So it's been
I love that.
almost 10 years now. So statute of limitations. We used to be able to do this thing, right? Where you would be able to write on a bowl, like at the end, wow.
Oh.
You would be able to write wow on the bowl, and the cashier would know to just void it. Each person working there, whether you were if you were working the cash register, if you were on the grill, if you were on the line, even if you were in the back, you were able to wow one bowl
A day.
every single shift. Yep. So
Wow.
So
That's mean saying like, wow, she's hot as fuck. You're getting free food.
Typically, you were supposed to give it to, if you have like a sweet old lady come through and it looks
we
like
don't-
she
we
was
don't
having
move
a
like
rough
that. We
day,
don't move like that.
or somebody that looks like but so I would use it towards like if somebody that I was talking to or kind of snapping with or whatever the case might have been circa 2015, 2016. I would write wow on the bowl, and then they would because I worked in the same neighborhood that I went to high school at, so write wow on the bowl and then just give kind of like a wink from the back while I'm cutting up some chicken, and it would be like player move.
That is a player move. I did not know that. That's awesome, Jack.
That is pretty cool. And I'm back up.
You have back-to-backs.
Oh, I have back-to-back shit. Give me 1-3. Would absolutely love to have a comedian on here. I think girls love a funny guy. I think that's a great way to win a girl over.
What is it?
Comedian. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Trying to think of on the job.
That's what I'm saying. All mine are on the job.
Yeah, no, that's where my head has been at as well.
Yeah, you're bartending, you're talking with a girl. Jiu-jitsu instructor, probably on top of the girl.
Gosh,
Chipotle
more.
worker.
On top of the girl. Oh, jeez. What if we went?
I'm gonna have a hard time coming up with two more.
We're just gonna go financial advisor. They're always well dressed in those meetings, and they know. Well, wait, they know exactly what's going on in your life. They know where their niche is to step in. They know how the funds are working. I mean that.
Fair enough.
I know a lot of great financial advisors in my life that have very attractive girlfriends.
So you have So Nick's back up
I'm back up.
for your fourth selection.
All right, my fourth selection, I'm gonna go with working at a nonprofit.
The MPOs can't beat the MPOs.
Yeah, the
can't beat the
nonprofit.
MPOs.
Oh, you care about the community, you care about the world. One of my best friends.
I won't
that
put
lives in
worker. I'll put
California.
nonprofit CEO.
All right, I get. Yeah, I don't even think you have to be the CEO.
No, because then you're getting too fancy. You care too
All
much
right.
about
I think
it.
just
Yeah,
if you work,
you're
at
actually
a
doing Nick a disservice by putting
Okay.
CEO.
If
Yeah.
you work at a nonprofit,
I believe that
you
goes
got a
up
chance.
too.
And
You got to
push
move that one up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use my fourth pick, kind of along the lines of your guys' logic.
You got to switch nonprofit and.
I keep thinking I'm up top. You're right.
No, the jujitsu instructor's up top. Don't forget about that.
Yeah. What do you mean?
I was
No, that's right.
making a joke on Nick's joke earlier.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go along the lines of the proximity aspect. How you guys said
Mhm.
Uber driver.
I think you catch a case if you start talking about Uber.
Weird about it.
Yeah, that might be an
I'm out on that one.
What?
That was a 4th round selection. That was the Perry on Winfrey of your drafting career
So
right there.
that's inappropriate, but as your jujitsu and fitness instructor, you're gonna have sex and pick up girls and your clients, but I can't do it as an Uber driver. Is what you're saying.
Well, Uber driver, you're picking up a drunk person. Usually, it's a little bit different.
I'm not saying you have to do stuff with them on the spot.
And the thing with driving Uber too is like
You're
just
usually
the-
a creepy
the
driver.
small talk conversations that happen in so how long you driving? Like in a 15-minute
Yeah.
ride, how does that turn into?
Okay, then how about this? I'm changing it. I'm going to veterinarian.
All right, I feel like that had to be changed, so I'll accept it.
Pets, dogs, cats. Imagine you're a hot veterinarian and they bring in your dog to save their lives.
Or inversely, though.
Yeah, could kill it.
Yeah,
I think it's a high risk one.
Rainbow Road.
I'm a good vet.
That's a real high risk.
I'm a good vet. So
All
I
right.
have the last. I pick again, right?
I believe so.
Oh God. Okay.
I can't even think of one more thing.
Damn. I can't believe you guys just shit on my Uber driver.
Yeah, it was bad.
All right. I'll go.
None of us have a 5th pick. I feel like.
No, I got my fast.
I don't want to pick what you gave me. Fine. I'll go. Fine, Jay. I'll go with you. I'll go like working at like a resort. Like,
Yeah, that's like
I mean, I think that might be your number 1 pick so far.
bro, over pilot.
not over pilot, but
Well, 1-1, you have the whole entire board.
just
right.
about everything
Well,
else.
my draft's complete. So Nick, your last one.
Oh man, I'll go with and again, this is like maybe a
This is a
little
big
bit of a
pick.
hot take, and I don't know this to be true. This is like the only one that I don't know to be true. Shoot. I'll say a nurse. I'll say a male nurse.
I thought about that. That's a good pick.
Since
It's a real
doctors
good
are
pick.
already
We're
off
just
the
throwing
board.
late round darts and hoping they work.
Yeah,
out.
Oh,
I'll
not
go with the
everyone's
male
throwing
nurse.
darts in the late rounds.
I don't personally even know any male nurses, but I'm throwing the dart.
I'm not even gonna call this a dart. I'm gonna take musician. A girl loves a guy playing the
All
guitar.
right, that's
yeah.
a good one. That's a very good one.
I love how I came up with
So
my draft.
I have bartending, jujitsu instructor, Chipotle worker, nonprofit worker, and male nurses. Ryan has pilots, firefighters, doctors, veterinarians, which, okay, you could argue those are two of the same. Resort
group the
workers.
pick.
No,
took,
they're
took
not.
two running backs. Took 2 running backs.
And Jack has professional athlete, a fitness instructor, a comedian. I can't even read what that says.
Financial advisor.
Financial advisor.
raw, maybe raw. I mean, I win. I win.
No, he
Musician.
didn't win. We're gonna pull it. I
Yeah, we're
can't
gonna
believe
pull
you
it.
shit on. We have Chipotle worker in here, and we shit on Uber driver. Like,
Yes.
I get the riz. I get
I
the.
I've lived through it.
All right, man.
They don't have wow bulls in a Honda Accord. I mean, there's because you picked half of it. Of course
He
you
didn't
are.
pick half of it.
All right, we're gonna put the poll up. Follow us on social at The Big Factor.
All right, everybody, have
That's
a
a
wonderful
Friday.
rest of your Friday. That was our first edition of the Friday Fantasy Draft. Thank you to Garage Beer. Thank you to Fairway Ford. We'll be back, same people, same time on Monday. Until then, have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you. Peace.